Brad, how did that look at the video go when you studied Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, probably what everybody saw on Saturday. You know, it was not the performance that we wanted. You know, I think everybody in that defensive unit, coaches, players, you know, everybody involved, you know, embarrassed by, you know, how we performed. But that is last Saturday, and now it's our job to step up and respond, and that's what we got to do.
Missouri's obviously put up a bunch of big offensive numbers. What makes them so challenging to defend?
A lot of weapons. You know, the quarterback's playing at a really high level, really confident in his ball placement. He's big, he's athletic. So he is, you know, he's arguably, you know, one of the top QBs in this league, and, you know, playing at a level that you could make an argument he's, you know, as good as anybody, you know, in the country. And so he's playing really well. Obviously, Burden is playing at an extremely high level, and you can see by the receptions, the yards, what he does once the ball's in his hand, really dangerous. They've got a really physical and productive running game. You know, the other receivers have done a really good job. I think, you know, Weeze is really talented, and, you know, 17 and Cooper, and so a lot of weapons, and they've all been, you know, in different times in the game and throughout the year have stepped up and made plays. So you got a lot of options that they can count on, and that we've got to account for.
Obviously, Burden and Brock Bowers are very different kind of players, but can you learn anything from last week in terms of just accounting for a guy? You have to know where he's at every play and apply it to this week, or are they just so different that it doesn't really work?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, you know, just because of position, you know, in terms of, you know, how to account for that kind of guy. But to your point, there's a lot of similarities, because where Brock maybe, you know, when he gets the ball in his hand, obviously he has speed, but he's super physical, you know, and you saw how many, you know, tackles sort of he broke. You know, Luther does the same way, just in a different way. He's elusive, he's shifty, he can change speeds, you know, which is deceiving, and, you know, because he can be smooth and it doesn't feel like he's running, and then all of a sudden he hits a gear. And so those kind of guys are really, really tough to defend, both from a route running standpoint, and then especially when the ball's in your hand, because as a tackler, you know, you're trying to pace your angle, and then all of a sudden at the last second he accelerates, and, you know, he can blow through that angle. He's made a lot of plays and scored a lot of touchdowns by guys feel like they've taken the right angle, and at the last second he explodes by, and now he's down the sideline. So leverage on the football, you know, team tackling is going to be huge. Again, you know, Saturday was not that kind of performance, and we knew we had to get multiple hats to the ball. We didn't. You know, we've talked about it. You know, it's been addressed. Hopefully we can get that fixed and play a little bit more like we have the previous, you know, 5 games.
Brad, your front seven has done a solid job this year getting pressure on the quarterback. Not as much of that on Saturday against Florida. Part of that was them getting the ball out quick, but how is the front seven really needing to improve this week and get more pressure on the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to that, and, you know, some of it, you know, it's credit to them that they blocked us. Some, you know, execution and, you know, hesitation when there should be no hesitation. So yeah, we've got to do better. You know, we've got to be able to help in the back end, and then, you know, the back end's got to do their part for the front end too, and they got to make them hold the ball for a click. And so we talk about it all the time. Both sides, everything works together. The back end helps the front end helps the back end, and when they're playing in unison, that's when you're productive. And we were not in sync in any form or fashion.
Right, with Jalen out, Mark said that Ty Bryant's guys are going to have to step up. What have you seen from him that makes him ready for that moment as a true freshman?
Yeah, you know, I'm confident in him, and, you know, he's shown it in practice. He's shown it on special teams, and so I'm confident that when it's his time and his moment. But like at any position, you know, until you step out there and you do it, there's some unknown. But he knows that myself, and this entire team has confidence that when he steps on the field, there's not going to be any dumbing down of the defense or any of that kind of stuff. He's got the whole playbook, and he's ready to execute.
Brad, haven't heard Jordan Lovett's name a whole lot, and I don't want to assume that he's playing poorly or anything, but is there anything going on with him that you're not seeing kind of the splash plays maybe that he had made previously?
Yeah, I think no one played particularly well on Saturday, and he would be the first to admit that it was probably not one of his best games. But to a man, myself included, I don't think there would anybody that would raise their hand and say that. So you take that game out, he's made plays. Every game's a little bit different, so his positioning on the ball can be different in how he's being attacked. So, but no, he's playing solid football for us. Maybe not the plays haven't been there for him to make maybe the splash plays that they were last year. And then, there's been some plays that I think he would like to have back from a tackling standpoint. And, he's not necessarily, doing anything wrong, but, we just need to continue to improve.
You're talking about being in sync. Was that something with your front back that you were satisfied with in those first 5 games, or has that been something that you've been trying to push to improve this whole season?
Well, you're always trying to push to improve. No matter what, they've been far more in sync, and other than maybe it'd be a random drive here or there, but over the length of a game, up to Saturday, they had been solid in that, and they've helped protect each other, and it did not. So obviously we have to get back to what we know and who we are. We've got to execute, simple things and mistakes that we didn't make in training camp, we didn't make in spring, we made on Saturday. And then you get into that kind of environment and things start to snowball. And so, again, hopefully they can use that as a learning moment. But what you can't do is you can't lose confidence. This is a good defense, and they just need to go back out and play the way they know how to play and that they've played in the past. It would be one thing if they had never done it, and I'm just speaking, in wishful thinking. This is a team that has, in a defense that has gone out and they have performed this fall on Saturdays at a really high level. Up to, what would it be now? 10 days ago, everybody, but it's not about that. And that's the beautiful thing about football. It's very humbling. You got to come do it every single week. And they got humbled. And we as a coaching staff got humbled. And so now it's about, hey, shaking it off, getting up, and getting back to what we know how to do.
Everybody good?